Hello, good morning and welcome to New Forest Morphs, and it's Monday morning. Jared's joined me back from his weekend, and thank you, Jared, for joining us. I'm really glad Jared's here because he's our in-house expert on incubation and eggs. Had a lot more experience than me, and we're going to be today answering a question which has been driven by three different viewers, and those three viewers are Joey Hanna, who asked the question, please would you show us how to set up a hatch box. Now I think that's really topical at the moment because a few of us have got girls that are going to go soon, and they're going to ovulate, and then after that they're going to hopefully do a pre-lay shed, and then after that they're going to give us some eggs. So the key is not to rush and set everything up on the day because you get caught out. Is that right, Jared?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you do have to do that if you get a surprise clutch, but it's better to be prepared.
So our incubators have been switched off for quite a while now, and it's about time we get them ready to go and fire up the furnaces, as they say. But we still think we're going to be quite a ways away because we don't think we've even had an ovulation yet. We thought we did, but we don't, so I think our eggs are going to come a bit later. But many of you are telling me you've got ovulation, so we're putting our interest to one side and actually doing this on your behalf. And it will be for us as well, because we could end up with a surprise clutch. Maybe if we do, we'll certainly let you know about it. But we're going to go through the process of setting up a hatchling box, and we're also going to do a little in-depth process of how incubation works and the timing of incubation. I think we had Stephen Beckett ask the question, could you give us an in-depth look at the incubation process? Well, we'll do the best we can. We will give up as much information as we can, and then perhaps anything we've missed, please feel free to drop in some comments and positive, please, and we can work together and learn from each other. The other thing I wanted to do is just say thank you to Simon Miller, who also asked a question on incubation as well, because Simon, really appreciate your love and support as well. He would like to know the incubation times is what he's asked about. How long do you leave your eggs on incubation? When do you, what's going on there? And I think we should address that as part of the overall video today. So before we get on with that though, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all the feedback we had yesterday on the humidity video, and the one that really hit me hardest was a beautiful message from JV Royals Pythons. JV, we want to just send our love to you. We understand that the family's come down positive on COVID-19, and he emphasises in his message the reality of what's out there. And in the UK, this weekend has been horrendous. Our hospitals are bursting at the seams. Doctors and nurses are just working 24/7. I know quite a few people that are getting through COVID at home, many of them successfully, which is reassuring. But in our family, we have my nephew-in-law go through COVID-19, and it was 2 days of severe pain in his bedroom, lying on his tummy. And fortunately we've got a sister-in-law that's a nurse that was able to help him. But it's real out there, guys, so stay safe, don't take any unnecessary risks, and we are staying safe here. We're not going out, we're making sure. Mandy ordered food to the house, I think over the weekend. We had a delivery. People are delivering food to you. There's plenty of food out there, so no need to panic, but just avoid going into public spaces and just avoid doing anything unnecessary, because we can all work on this together, and the more of us that do that, we can get this under control. But we want to send our faith and prayers. Please, I'm asking everyone to exercise at least hope, if nothing else. Faith, prayers, if you're inclined to be that way. But I just think that collectively we can work through this together, and we want to send our love to you and your beautiful baby boy as well. And we hope that you guys make a speedy, full recovery, and that you come out of this stronger. Which leads me on to my little thought for the day, because today is January the 11th, and my wife bought this, she's got this beautiful thought book here. I love it because it kind of sets the mental tone of the day for us. And I think during this COVID-19, we want to feed ourselves something uplifting, because we're surrounded by negative media right now. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to do a daily blog, actually. It's not just because I love snakes and I'm loving my community. It's because I actually really do have a passion for helping people. And as a person that's used to going out and serving and loving people, I feel restricted myself because I can't go out in my community and do the work I want to do. as much as I'd like to. So this video is helping me as much, hopefully it's helping you guys, because I get an opportunity to lift and encourage us all, and hopefully you're feeling that vibe and that love. Anyway, let's draw upon some really good thoughts and quotes. This is a quote by Maya Angelou, which I think must be French, Maya Angelou, and this is what it says. It says, if life teaches us anything, it's maybe that it's necessary to suffer some defeats. For example, look at a diamond. It is a result of extreme pressure. Less pressure, it becomes a crystal. Less than that, it's coal. Less than that, it is fossilized leaves, or just plain dirt. Now that really hit me today, because I was thinking to myself, boy, we're all under pressure. I don't think, I'm 55 and I've been around a little bit. I can't recall a time in my life where the whole of the world is under so much pressure. And for many people, they're really feeling it. Many of us are feeling it. But when I read a quote like that, it makes me feel really uplifted to know that this pressure is there for a reason. And I believe that out of the fiery furnace of challenges and struggles, we become better people. We become perhaps a bit more tolerant, a bit more loving, helping the community. We appreciate things more. I mean, since my family have been through COVID, we appreciate food on the table more than ever. We appreciate a roof above our head. We appreciate when we spend time with our family. It's just so important to us. So I hope that thought helps a little bit, and we want to send again our love to the beautiful family, the JB Royal family. You're in our thoughts and prayers, and we wish you speedy recovery, and that you become whole, and that you become strong, and even stronger than before. So let's now also look at a couple of other bits of feedback, because Kirk Malik, he also gave a really good idea for our humidity problem, and I wanted to just show you what we've done here, because in my video yesterday I was saying that the heater was actually, well, the heater was positioned, we've switched these two around, Joe, haven't we?
Yeah.
So this is our heater, it's our second heater, because there's two sources of heat in a facility. You have your heat mats, which is your primary source, and the other heater is a secondary source, and you need both to get effective husbandry. So we positioned this smack in the middle of our racks, thinking that'll do great. But what I've also realised is this is the cool side of the facility, this is the warmer side of the facility, and I've pushed it across to the cooler side, and we've got some rubs here that are yet to be filled. So the heat hitting those rubs is not going to affect anybody. I think we're going to experiment, and we're going to move the heater over to here, and then we've put the, what's this called, Jared?
An air purifier.
This is an air purifier, okay? Since we've had that, it gets rid of any smells. Now, there was one of my viewers that was saying his wife was complaining about the smell in the house. I said to him, get yourself one of those. And we did. When we first built this facility, I came in and I said to Jan, what on earth is that smell? It's like really potent. I was thinking, can't be doing with this. So we did our research, and we spent 200 quid on that. I've done a video. If you want to see where we got it from and how we built it, it took about 10 minutes. Have a jump on that one. It's on our How to Care for Ball Python series. Get yourself one of those if you feel you want to get rid of the smell, and I promise you, your smell will just decline by about 50%. The other option is cocoa husk is a great remedy for getting rid of smells, but the most important thing is regular cleaning, actually. And the other thing we've learned is when you're cleaning and you put all your rubbish in the bin, don't leave any dead rats in the bin overnight if anyone leaves a rat, because the next morning you know about it, and that's the biggest smell to avoid. If they leave a dead rat on a mat, I think everyone out there knows it's the worst, isn't it? It's the worst possible thing. So be diligent in your husbandry. Don't leave it a few days, you'll know about it, but every day, if you've got time, go to your animals every day, please, and just inspect, clean. Today we've done a 15-minute clean session, Jad. Because we're cleaning every day, we don't have to do massive deep cleans. Everything is almost as clean as it was when we first bought the rubs, because in our system we're not using cocoa husk, we're using tissue, as you know. And when you put on the tissue, we fold it into the tissue in the bin, spray down the rubs, replacement, with cocoa husk, there's pros and cons to it. It's good for humidity, yes, but the bowls can't move easily because the cocoa husk is in the way when it comes to cooling and when it comes to them adapting their temperatures and adapting their humidity levels. So there's a downside to that. But also, with cocoa husk, you can spot clean, but all the urine and all the wee is going through that cocoa husk, sitting underneath, and that isn't being deeply cleaned. It is sitting there for up to 4 weeks, if we're honest. Therefore, I don't think long term it's necessarily the best way, but everyone to their own. And I'm probably going to change my views probably in about a year. I'll probably be all fully cocoa husk.
It looks nice.
It does, it smells great, but I just think it's easier. Also, the cost of paper is about 1/3 the cost of cocoa husk. So if you're on a budget, which we're trying to keep things, we're trying to run a lean ship here, aren't we, Jared? Because we've got a limited amount of funds. So we are being careful to be effective, but also be cost effective as well as husbandry effective. But I know a lot of top breeders that won't move on to cocoa husk because mite problems. Once mites get in your system, you've got to get rid of all your cocoa husk. You know, you get a mite problem on tissue, it's a lot easier to deal with. You can literally just spray everything down, get it out, you know. But with cocoa husk, they can harbour mites and they can be hiding underneath everything. You may not realise you've got a mite problem until it hits one of your snakes and you've got problems. So there's another reason why we don't have cocoa husk, because the mites, the other thing is they can eat it. When you're feeding your prey, they can end up taking cocoa husk in with the prey. They can get stuck in their ventral, or the vents can get stuck. There's a lot of things to consider. And also there's a lot of dust in some of this cocoa husk and you've got to spend a lot of time cleaning it. And some of the cocoa husk is really good high quality. But we might move there, but for now we're sticking where we are and we'll see where we go. Anyway, this video is not about this, but it's all about obviously the incubation process. So we will come on to that. So the last thing I want to do on the humidity is just to show you something here, because remember the phantom snake yesterday was having an issue with his temps.
With humidity?
Humidity, sorry. Now it was down at 48, so we've made these adjustments, so we see how that impacts on. I did spray down his rub as well to help him. Let's have a look and see what the reader's showing Jared, 70. So it's above the 65 and he's not in shed, so it's gone the other way now. Which actually reminds me, because there was actually one other comment from, I think it was, who was it now? It was, I'm trying to remember the name of the comment. We did get a comment which has been removed, I think, by the originator, and he was adamant that the humidity levels should be between 70 and 90 24/7. And I disagree with him on that one, because my video yesterday was saying that I would go up to 90 when they're in shed and when they're breeding for a few days on humidity in the rubs. But day to day it should be between 50 and 65 in my opinion. And I checked it out and I said to him at the time, I said, look, I got my information from top breeders in the world, world-class breeders like Billy at Mutation Creation. He's got a fact sheet on his website. If you go on his website and you check out his facility, he's got 20 years experience. He's highly respected in the industry, world-class breeder. And it says on there, very similar to what I said, he's saying that you have your husbandry between 50 and 70, I think, is what he says, day to day. And then he says occasionally go up to 80 when they're shedding and when they're breeding. And that's Billy, who's got 20 years experience, and he is highly respected. So I think I'm going to rely on him rather than someone that perhaps has a different view, maybe not as much experience. But anyway, we'll leave it there. I wish that person would actually put the comment back on, because it had all the links on there, and I wanted to really help my viewers know my feeling about it. And I think it's really important to be open and allow people to express a view, even if you don't agree with it. But let's have intelligent conversation, let's do our research. And then I appreciated that comment, even though at the time it did feel a bit strange. I appreciated the comment because it made me do more research. And I think one of his points, which I quite didn't know that, is he taught us a principle that he studied what's going on in Tonga, in the east of Africa, where these snakes come from. And he said on his research, the humidity levels in the wild have never dropped below 70%. And I thought, wow, never knew that. So thank you for letting me know about that. So I don't know why we've got a drop down to 50 to 65, other than these snakes seem to be thriving on it. So maybe there's saying other factors going on here. Maybe our humidity is much wetter humidity than, you get dry humidities and you get wet humidity. You know, there's different types of humidity, aren't there, Jared? So I don't know. But anyway, thank you for your comments. I would ask this person to reinstate that link if possible, because I'd like my viewers to see the arguments and the debate, and I don't want you to feel as though I'm putting you down, but be willing to take advice from each other, and let's not take it personally, but let's learn from each other. And we might get it wrong, but if we get it wrong, let's just adjust and correct. No big deal. So let's get on to the next stage of the video. So Jared, we're going to move on to the setting up of an egg box. So Jared's got all his ingredients here. Shall I do the video? Yeah. So what we've got, Jared, let's have a little look and see what we've got. Yeah.
Well, so this is the way we do it. There's other ways out there, but this works for us, so we don't bother with anything else. Right, so I'm sure a lot of you are already aware of this method, but we'll share it with you how we do it. So what you need is a box. So we'll start off with just a plain box. Now when it comes to the size of the box, you want it to be deep enough so that some eggs can fit in there without touching the top, and you want it to be wide enough that it can fit a clutch in, and also so it fits in your incubator. Okay, so you start off with the box. Then what we use is vermiculite. We just use straight vermiculite, we don't bother mixing it, and it's worked perfectly for us. There's plenty of clutches of eggs that hatch perfectly. I thought it was open, but it's not. Just grab some scissors.
Where do you get the vermiculite from, Jared?
I just ordered it from Amazon, but you can get it from garden centres. This is the brand we've gone for, Groshaw, not sponsored or anything.
Yeah.
Vermiculite.
It's quite cheap, isn't it?
It's not expensive, it's like £6 for a bag like this, and that will last you a lot of incubation.
So you go to the garden centre for that, and that's what? How much did you spend on that, Jared?
Probably about £6-7.
And how long would that last you?
That would do you about 5 clutches.
Wow.
So
okay.
Depends how big your box is.
So it's about £1 a clutch.
Yeah.
So it's nothing to worry about.
So we'll open this up.
Yeah. Are there any other things you can use besides that, or is that? Why did you
go
go
for
for
other
that?
things. I just chose this one because it was available to me at the time, and I saw someone recommending it. I tried it out for my first time and had a 100% success rate, so
Okay.
I didn't bother. You can get things like Hatchling, which is a branded one that you don't need anything like. You don't need any egg crates or stuff that we're going to show you later today.
So what are they, Jared, that you've got those crates from? Are they like light diffusers or something?
So they're called, they're like what you use for marine fish tanks, for your coral, like a coral bed.
Yeah.
They can also be light diffusers, but light diffusers are usually a bit bigger.
Yeah.
So you can find these, if you just type egg crate on Amazon or eBay.
You've got one that's got really small holes here. Is that to keep the snakes from getting their head stuck in there when they come out?
This was just the first one I had, and then that was another one I ordered which was available. But yeah, smaller's better in my opinion.
Yeah.
Stops them getting their head stuck, stops them drinking from the vermiculite water.
I wanted to give a shout out to one of our good friends who we've done a sticker swap to. I think it's, is it a Tinge of Ginge?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tinge of Ginge. He's put out a really good video last night. I don't know if you've seen it, Jared.
I haven't, no.
He's awesome. He's got like a 3D printer, and he's produced an immense. I've got to send people there and have a look at it, because he's produced this immense homemade. He's used that. He's built it all up in a way that protects all the eggs from rolling. Just go and see it. I'm really impressed with it. So
I'll definitely have a look.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Right, back to this. So you start off with your vermiculite, or you can use perlite or hatchling, but this is what we use, so we'll recommend this one.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to pour a good amount in, probably about an inch all around.
So it's important.
Maybe a little bit more than that. Yeah. You want about an inch, maybe an inch and a half.
Okay.
You don't want it too deep, because then your eggs won't fit in.
Okay.
But you want it deep enough to hold all the moisture. So if you look on the side there, actually that's a lot less than an inch.
Looks like porridge to me, Joe. I have seen. I don't know if anyone's seen. There's a really nice guy, Hardwired Exotics, that I like. I watch him.
There you go.
And he uses cocoa husk.
Really?
Yeah.
I think there's lots of different methods, but this is our method. So you put that in there. You then need your water. So the important thing with incubating eggs is you want the humidity to be 100% the whole way through.
Yeah.
But you don't want the water to touch the eggs. So this is the method that stops the water from touching the eggs, but makes sure the humidity is always 100%.
Okay.
Then you pour the water in. Now with the water, there's no exact amount for the way that we do it. I know if you're doing it without the egg crate, you've got to have a certain ratio. I think it's 1 to 1 in weight. But I need a bit more water than that.
It's worth doing research on that because everyone's got a different view on that, Jared.
Yeah.
So 1 to 1 is what they recommend, and they weigh it up, don't they? I've seen them weigh it up.
It's all in weight, 1 to 1 in weight. Yeah.
You're very much going with your gut instincts here, aren't you?
So what I do is I fill it up, and then what you want to do is you want to mix it about. So it's like wet sand if you go to the beach.
Yeah. You're making ground bait if you're a fisherman.
Or making ground bait, exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want it too wet, you don't want it too dry, but you want it. You want to be able to look at it and it doesn't look sopping wet.
And don't put any sweet corn or ham in there if you're making ground bait because
a little bit of hemp's alright. But what you want to be able to do is see it like that, and then when you squeeze it, water comes out of it. See that?
Oh, like a sponge.
Like a sponge.
Okay. Talking of which, Dave Palovo at Serpent University in the States, the ex-bodybuilder, do you know what he uses for his
sponges?
Sorry?
Sponges?
Sponges, yeah, he uses sponges. Go check him out. If you want to see, he did a really good one actually, and he got a clutch of 10 eggs. If you go and look at his video about 3 or 4 years ago, he did a really good version of this, which I'd send you there as well if you want to see a second opinion using the sponges. Because the advantage of the sponges is
they're reusable.
They're reusable, but also easier to clean. The snakes, when they come out, don't get covered in all that stuff. So there's some pros and cons to using each method, but we're going to stick with Jared's method. It works.
So after you've done that and you've got it in the right consistency, not too wet, not too dry, you then put your egg crates in. So I double up just to make sure. Usually one's alright, but I stick 2 in. So I put 1 down first, if you get a good look at that. 1 down first, and now if I push down on that, the moisture doesn't come up. See that?
Oh yeah.
And then I put the second one in. So now the water's never going to touch that. So when you get your eggs, you sit them on here, and the water is in the area. The humidity is 100%, but the eggs never get wet, never get mouldy.
Great idea, Joe. Great idea.
A little tip that we use as well.
What happens if water does get onto eggs though?
Just clean it off.
Okay. But try to avoid it because it can lead to mould and eggs dying.
So after we've done that,
did you prepare one earlier, Joe?
That's just one from last season. I haven't cleaned out yet.
You need to get that clean, Joe, because I think we've got some eggs coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Put that away.
So you got some.
So what you'll do is we use these little plastic straws. So if you get some eggs that come out that are loose, you lay them out in here, and to stop them from rolling about and touching the sides, we use these straws, and you put them in. Say you've got 4 eggs there. Put them in just around the eggs to stop them from rolling, and that keeps them in place.
Okay. So that stabilises them.
Yeah.
Do you like to put your eggs in as they lay, or how do you normally?
I leave it as they lay, personally.
And why do you do that?
Just because that's the way that they would be in the wild, and I think that.
But what happens if you can't get them in your box? Because if you
can't
get
them in your box, then separate them.
But you don't separate normally.
If I don't have to, I don't.
Right. So everyone's got a different view on that one. Some separate and some don't.
Yeah, it's up to you. I mean, if you separate and one goes mouldy, the others won't go mouldy.
Yeah.
If one goes mouldy when they're all together, it could spread.
Right.
Of course. So there's pros and cons.
We had one last year, Jared. It never did spread though. Most of them spread.
Yeah.
I was really worried. I tried to treat the one that was mouldy.
Well, we caught it early. If we left it, it would have spread for sure. But we caught it early.
Yeah.
And treated it and tried to make sure it was all right. But all the others made it.
Okay.
But I leave it as they lay. If it doesn't fit in, separate them. But the problem is with separating, you've got a chance of ripping it, which can be bad.
But if they do, apparently,
you put plaster on it.
Is it a plaster job?
Yeah.
Plasters are great. If you rip an egg, use a plaster, and they can come through with the plaster. And
so once we've done that, before any eggs go in it, I put it in the incubator to warm up. Because something you don't want to do is you don't want to prepare it with cold water and then put nice warm eggs in that just cool down immediately.
Good point. Yeah.
So you prepare it, put the lid on, stick it back in the incubator.
Where's the cling film that a lot of people recommend, Joe? People normally recommend cling film.
I don't use it for our method. I haven't seen the need to be honest. Something that we use instead is in this incubator. If you look closely, there's a lip here.
Yeah.
So on the lip, we leave it angled like that.
Okay. So.
And the reason for this is because if you look at this tub, see it's got some condensation on it.
Yeah.
And on the top it's got some water. So what's going to happen is as you incubate it, the water's going to make droplets on the top and on the sides.
Yeah.
That could drop down on the eggs. And if you leave it flat, it's just going to congregate in the middle and drop down.
Got you. Got you.
If you put it at an angle, it comes up, all runs to the back of the tub and down the side, so it never touches the eggs.
Great idea, Joe. What if you haven't got a lip on your incubator though?
If you haven't got a lip, are they in here? I use poker chips.
Oh, that's
and I stack a few poker chips up and stick it on. You can use anything. You could use some leftover egg spray, stick it in.
Got you.
And then raise it up on that.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Okay, Joe, that's really good. Thank you for sharing that with us.
That's all right.
So I suppose the other questions we've got to ask is, I'm trying to think what else I was going to ask you is, oh yeah, when do you put, what are the temps that you would have in there normally for your incubation?
So we usually have ours, I set it at 90, but it goes between 89.5 and 90.
Yeah.
So between that is what we use, and it usually takes 55 to 60 days to hatch, and we cut on day 56.
Okay. Now that leads me to the other question, because I think we had a question about incubation times. That's a range, but sometimes I notice that some come early, some come late. So we shouldn't really prescribe a particular time.
Exactly.
It's the snakes that determine that. So keep an open mind and open heart to what you're doing here, because the snakes, I think if you had a lower temp, you'd have longer periods. So if you think there's an animal that's prone to kinking, you're doing a slower cook, you drop it down to say 88, and it might take an extra 4 or 5 days to hatch, but it might have less incubation issues, but it might have less kinking. So I think the answer to your question is that the time that you give those eggs is determined by the snake, not by us, and we have to be on it, monitoring it, seeing what's going on, seeing when they're pipping, and making sure you control your temperatures all the way through. Now, I think what we'll do, Jared, because this is a 30-minute film, we're going to kind of call it a wrap there. But on the detailed incubation process, I'd refer you to one of our videos where Jared and I built an incubator and we discussed things in there. But later, I'm going to actually respond to one of those questions and do a really in-depth incubation video. So that will come. So thank you for being patient. We're sending our love again to all our viewers, particularly the family that are suffering at the moment with COVID. And anyone that's suffering out there with COVID or any other issue, to be honest with you. So go ahead and put your comments on the video, please. Don't forget to subscribe. Friday we've got the competition. The live chat could be happening. We might be bringing in a celebrity as well. We'll see. I'm waiting for some feedback from a couple of friends that are really well renowned and got a high reputation out there, see if they're going to come with us. So Jared, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Do you know what, I couldn't do this without Jared, so I really appreciate that, Jared. Alright, that's all for now, and we shall see you tomorrow.